One of the first Chinese running shoes that I ever heard of was the 361 Degrees Miro Nude. By all reports, it was a glass cannon of a shoe and self-cannibalized accordingly. Well, 361 Degrees heard that feedback and have made the Miro Nude 2.
Well, the devil went down to China. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a rut, cause the limp in his strut was taking a while to heal. When he came across this young man, ripping repeats on the track was so hot. And the devil jumped up on a rickety hurdle, saying, boy, let me tell you what. If you care to take a dare, I'll make you a bet. From there to there, in a second's head start you'll get. I'll bet this pair of shoes against your soul. I think I'm faster than you.
Alright, lacing up the 361 Degrees Miro Nude 2. This does not have an insole in it. I don't know if you can see that here. But if not, I could throw that up on the screen. It's just a piece of fabric, it seems, to be sewn in right over the strobel board, or it doesn't have a strobel board. Either way, it feels a little big on my left foot. My left foot is the smaller of my 2 feet, though, so that's not surprising. But yeah, it feels really voluminous on the first foot. And volume is never really an issue for me. I could cope with both high and low volume shoes. I do completely fine. Sorry about all the dog hair. This rug seems to just collect it all, which is great. It puts it all in one place, but then it's impossible to vacuum up. But yeah, let's see. I got the laces tucked all the way in here. The laces are not serrated, but they're very lightweight. They're very like flat, lightweight, and textured. So they're probably going to be fine. It's interesting to me that companies still don't use serrated laces. Maybe there's further innovations for laces to be made. Maybe we haven't reached peak lace yet, but I'm always a fan when I see serrated laces. Tongue is, of course, not gusseted, and it is kind of folding in on itself a little, somewhat. Or am I just completely not noticing it correctly? I might be losing it, guys. All right. So let's try to get a good fit on these. Yeah, the right foot feels a lot less voluminous. They lace these backwards. That's so annoying. Like the laces are coming in under the eyelet instead of going through correctly. Instead of being laced correctly, it's laced incorrectly. I'm actually not going out for a run right now. I'm filming this right now, but I have a couple meetings today, and I got to bring my car back to the mechanic so that I could actually get the repairs done that are needed and then get the inspection done, which I needed to clear a code, which was basically a pointless code anyways, from it's like a check engine light, and it was the evap sensor, and there's like some sort of valve that measures emissions, and that was displaying a very small leak. And the mechanic was like, yeah, it's not going to cause any issues for you, so there's no real point, frankly, in fixing it unless you want to have less emissions in your car. And I was like, okay, dude, you're the boss, because he could have charged me an additional, like, almost $1,000 probably, getting close to $1,000 to repair it, because apparently, like, the cost of the cost of the labor was so high. Not so much the part. The part was relatively cheap, but the labor was the expensive part. Yeah, so far, the upper on this, I am not digging at all. The laces seem somewhat finicky to get set up correctly. It's very plasticky, which contributes to how lightweight it is. But actually, as I'm getting into this now, this is starting to lock down really nicely. We're getting there. This is one that I'm probably going to have tied way too tight, but fortunately I'm not going for a run until later. But yeah, that's locked. That's glued to my foot. So it's just a matter of, I think that really the issue that I'm taking with this is that they laced it backwards. Like they're just laced backwards. It's not actually an issue. It's silly that they did that. I don't know why. Like if it's a person that laces up each of the shoes and sometimes they just do it backwards, or if it's like a machine that does it. If anybody knows, do please tell me. Of course, my dogs are knocking at the door trying to come in. It's like, boys, don't you know I'm recording? Oh yeah, this is gonna be, that's gonna be so, honestly, such a glued down to the platform feel. I'm starting to be excited about how these fit. The laces are definitely long, so I'm gonna have to do one of those little tucks, you know, the lace tuck, good old tuck and roll. Even still, it's long. The whole lace thing is I feel like the only shoe that has longer laces than this is the Xiaoyan. These are so long. What the heck? 361 degrees. What the heck? Oh, that's soft. I'm on carpet, but I could tell that it's soft. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be a lightning fast. Oh, yeah. With the stated stack being so low on these, I think it said 33, they really didn't look like it at all. Like from the side, it sort of does not seem like they would be that low. But on foot, I could see it, especially without an insole being in there. I'm actually kind of getting a little bit of lace bite on my right foot. So I'm gonna have to correct that before I go anywhere. Nothing on my left foot yet. But yeah, because when I look at the Takumi Sen 11, that's 33 in the heel and 27 in the forefoot, and that's basically the same exact situation we got going on here. And these kind of feel that low, but by visual effect, they look a lot taller than the Takumi Sen. So this is definitely an expensive Chinese shoe, and it's even expensive relative to the Takumi Sen, but it is a lot lighter and probably has better foam in it. We're gonna have to find out, of course. But I'm excited. This is going to be a blisteringly fast shoe. So I will catch you guys out on the run.
The boy said, my name's Tommy, and it might be a sin, but I'll take your bet and you're gonna regret. I'm the fastest there's ever been. Tommy, lace up your kicks and get on the line, cause hell's broke loose in China and the devil marks the time. And if you win, you get these shoes with the devil's midsole. But if you lose, the devil gets your soul.
Okay, as is generally the case for the first 4-ish miles, I like to try to get a read on the shoe before giving any thoughts or knee-jerk reactions. And I feel pretty good about letting you know this is a total speed demon. It is very fast shoe. My left calf is still in quite a bit of pain, so I'm not maybe getting 100% of what I would out of these, but in the few strides that I did, plus one consistent fast mile with intermittent speed on the other 3, it's fast. It's really fast. Like, made getting down to 520 on a stride feel like nothing, just nothing. They are a bit punishing though, and I don't know if it's just totally because my calf isn't feeling all that perfect, and I don't think it is just because of that. I think that they remind me, the fit reminds me a bit of the Metaspeeds in that it's not exactly comfortable on foot. I mean, I'm also running on strobo board covered by a piece of fabric, which I've never done before, and it hasn't affected too much, I don't think, but it is a little harsher than your average super shoe. Think like Metaspeed Edge Paris, but softer, with still similar levels of like impact pain. I don't know. So far, I don't know if I'd want to use this for a marathon, but for the shorter strides, this for sure rivals the Streak Fly in raw speed, which is a very, very high praise. Maybe I'd have to bring a Streak Fly out and see head to head if that's the case. This is definitely more stacked than that though, and the fact that I'm getting so much speed out of such a stacked shoe is really cool. My calf is not really up for this today though. That's the one thing that's worrying me, because I have like 10 more miles to go, which is not proper planning on my part, but I gotta get the mileage in, and so maybe I just cool down the pace. I say that as I'm talking, yapping with you. I'm still hitting like 7:30s, which is above talking pace for me generally. I'll get some strides.
The devil opened a shoebox and he said, I'll start this race. And fire flew from his fingertips as he laced up with rapid haste. And when he took his mark upon the track, the shoes let out an evil hiss. And then a band of demons jeered from the stands, which sounded something like this.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I have no idea how marathon runners maintain anything in the fours. That's what that was. It was like, I think 4:35 was the peak on my watch. I'm sprinting. That's sprinting. That is all out sprinting. I had no more gears to give there. So how do they do that? How do they sprint for 26.2 miles? I think they need to slow down.
When the devil started, Tommy was startled, but kept up on his heels and panted and puffed into abyss through breath and bother he caught up with mighty zeal. The line was there, and then it was done. By golly, did Tommy won. Well, that old devil dripped with sweat, and he knew that he'd been beat. And he laid those shoes down on the ground, right at Tommy's feet.
Time passes very differently when you're in fast shoes. I just bopped around the campus for a little bit, and I'm already at nearly 6.5 miles. And it's like, how did I get there so fast? Because when you run a lot of medium, slower miles, you get this built up like frame of reference for what a mile takes to run, time-wise. And when you're going like a minute at least faster, it feels very different the passage of time. But I can't talk to you as well as I normally could, that's for sure. On the track, these have such a taunting, beckoning, playful, mischievous energy about them. It's like, oh, you want to, you know you want to, come on, you're in peba, you're in carbon, let it rip, your calf, don't worry, it'll be broken tomorrow. Evil shoes, fantastic shoes, trying to kill me shoes. It's like the bargain with the devil with the fiddle. Devil went down to Georgia, or like the Faustian bargain. These are the shoes that once you put them on, you're not allowed to stop running. We're definitely getting a bit of a grip test. It is raining, it's getting dark. The only reason I wanted to do 14 today was so that I didn't have to double tomorrow. And I'm gonna shoot for it, but it might be getting too dark to do this, especially at these speeds. I feel up for it though, and I don't like wasting that feeling. Like, I feel good right now. So, we'll see. It's wild how much the physical landscape of Rochester has changed in the last week. It's muddy and green now instead of blue and white and gray. I mean, the gray is still here, of course. As for grip, I don't think that this is the top tier. It does pretty well with pretty much everything, but the mudslides and the really slick part of the track, that's why I left the track, it wasn't perfect for that. But it's not bad grip by any means. It's better than a lot of things. It's better than the Adios Pro 4. This has been an intense run, guys. It's a happy shoe, though. I like this shoe. The conditions have become full-blown nightmare fuel. It's like 35 and soaking wet. I have a hole in my glove. Can't feel my fingers. But I'm almost done. I'm gonna call it a 13.1. And I'll just run a really long one tomorrow. Sound good? Alright, 13.12. Nice little half marathon effort. Pace was 7:21. And first, I just want to take a moment, and you should as well whenever you have the opportunity to celebrate myself, and you should celebrate yourself. Definitely don't celebrate myself. But last year this time, about a year and a half ago, 1 hour and 36 minute half marathon time would have been like a 4 or 5 minute PR for me, and I would have been over the moon. And now I'm just making shoe reviews with filming and such, and dropping off my car and bopping along around town and setting up camera shots and stuff. So it's not often that I get to celebrate an accomplishment, and that's not even really like the run itself today was not so much an accomplishment as it was just like a marker of where I've been and where I'm going, and that it works if you just keep running. If you just keep running like Dory. Other thoughts, because I'm gonna lose all of my fingers if I stay out here too much longer. Overall thoughts were, at first I was worried that this was going to be a brutal shoe, and the longer I was in it, the less it felt like that. I felt better and better as time went on. I don't know if that's endorphins curing me of my pain, or if it's something else entirely, but yeah, they feel pretty good on foot right now. I could see, like, I don't know, it might be aggressive for the marathon, but I could see it. It's not like out of the question. That was just a really fantastic run, so that's probably coloring my opinion on the shoe. It is really cold. I have to go inside. I can't stay out. With that, back to the studio.
Hello, Burger Dog. Oh, it's Strider. Oh, it's Hawk. Oh, these are handsome dogs. Okay, man. Hey, Strider, are you licking? Are you hungry? Are you?
And we're back in the studio with the Miro Nude 2 from 361 degrees. Is that Fahrenheit or Celsius? Can somebody, is it basketball related? Somebody's gonna have to inform me in the comments. So that was a wicked run. I had a lot of fun. I dropped my car off at the mechanic and just started blasting, and it was a blast. It was, the very beginning started with some strides and a little parking lot just to get a feel for how the shoe was riding. And yeah, I'll talk about that momentarily, but first we have to talk about the specs and materials. So we have extremely detailed stack height specs on this bad boy, and that's because they printed it in 3 different locations. I never even recognized on the medial side, they also have the detailed stack breakdown. So in the heel, you have 6 plus 27, which means 33 in the heel. I believe the 6 means up top, so the plate's really close to your heel at the top, so you get 6 under the heel, directly under, and then 27 underneath the plate. And that's sort of, when you look at the little sole hole there, you could see that's probably what it is. It's the more stack is underneath the plate. But then in the forefoot, it tells you, it prints right on there, 9 plus 18, which is 27, which means this has a 6 millimeter drop. The midsole is made of peba. It is actually made of a nylon foam, which is called, let me see if I could pronounce this correctly, CQT Extreme 3, or like CQT Extreme. I'm not really sure what CQT means, so is it like skut? Is that close? Am I getting there? But nylon typically means a peba. That's what my understanding of pebas are. Like, they called the Metaspeed shoes back before the Paris, I forget what that was called, but they were using the marketing term nylon, but it was also a peba. And I'm stretching my memory here, but when I made my elaborate video on foam, my research yielded that like a polyether block amide is using like nylon. Nylon's another name for the polymer that's at play, I believe. So don't, take my word as gospel on this, but that's what I believe is going on here. Either way, it has the crinkles, the good old crinks, like a good peba should. I'm really bright. That was an intense run, and I showered, and then I just started doing this. So it's like one thing after the next. It has a very plasticky feeling upper. That's probably my immediate least favorite thing about the shoe, or at least it was when I was lacing up. It sort of gives Adios Pro 3, but way thinner. So like that was a pretty thick, sharp, like rigid plastic. This is definitely a rigid plastic. It's starchy, but it's by no means as thick as the Adios Pro 3 was. And the main thing is there's no weird big toe, knuckle, eyelet thing interfering with you here. And the tongue is actually really padded for what this shoe is. For the weight of, I believe it averaged to 155. I might be wrong. It's like 159, and you'll see it on your screen. But wicked light. I don't think that this necessarily feels lighter on foot than something like the DV8 Nitro Elite 4. But, if I put them on side by side and ran in them side by side, I'm sure I would notice some sort of difference there. It's statistically, like, as far as weight goes, it's light. It's very light, 160/155 grams, whatever. That's a light shoe by any metric. It is only, though, 33.27 for what that is worth to the stack checkers out there. I think that I'm really excited about the options outside of the full stack range of racing shoes. And frankly, this would be taller if there was an insole in it. And I was lucky in my big Chinese running shoe order package with the 4 shoes. Douyin was kind enough to send me extra insoles, and this is their super foam. So its insole is made out of a really, and you could feel it in your hands. This is very energy dense. This is a nice insole. So if I wanted to slap some insoles in here, I absolutely could, and that would add probably like 2 millimeters of stack to the shoe, making it 35, and that's basically 40 as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that, marathon shoes really all need to be exactly 40 to maximize the stack size it's perfectly fine at this stack height for some people. And I don't know, we'll get to that evaluation of whether or not I would race a marathon in this. That's such a question, right? But I'm happy to see this as an option for maybe even something to compete with Takumi Sen, or at least that's the stack and drop that would compete with something like the Takumi Sen. So really cool, interesting stats. The price was $150 with whatever. There was some discount. They were saying it was going to be $220, and then it just wasn't when I added it to the cart. I don't know how any of this works, guys. I paid $150 to 361 degrees, and then the shipping averaged across the 4 shoes was something like $35. So this cost out the door $185. This is how I'll be talking about the 3 other shoes as well that I ordered from Taobao, is the retail price plus the shipping costs, which I believe in, like, that incorporates the tariffs, which are now rescinded. It's all very complicated, this geopolitical international business sort of globalized economy. But I assure you that it's actually not that hard to order the shoes. It's just hard to understand what I paid for them. The laces are not serrated in this, which is slightly disappointing, but it's really not. The disappointing thing is that they are longer than my lifespan. It's crazy. Like, I had to make sure the laces weren't flopping around. I doubled these over and created like this like glom of a knot and tucked it into the shoe. I had these, it's like the Dynafish Xiaoyan. I had the laces tucked all the way down the eyelet chain. I don't know what's going on. People like long laces, whatever, that's fine. I'd rather the laces be too short, frankly, because I work better with shorter laces, and then I wouldn't have to tuck them into the upper. That's a pet peeve. But the laces themselves, for being this really thin, like ribbon-like material, they collapsed in on themselves and stayed tied. And really, I didn't fiddle with this as much as I was expecting to have to, because the rigid upper, also, these were laced backwards. Like, when the lace is coming through the wrong way on the eyelet. Yeah, these are laced backwards. So I thought I was in for a rough journey to finding a good fit. And I did stop one time at the beginning to retie them, but then it was fine after that. And so that's something more that we could talk about in the fit section. But yeah, not my favorite laces in the world, but they worked, right? They were satisfactory. And the tongue is fine. I mean, the tongue was actually probably a strong suit, because with an upper like this and with laces that aren't like perfect, it protected my foot. There was no lace bite, and the heel padding also was good. I am often wary about the split heel design. I don't always love that, but yeah, it worked. It was comfortable. The outsole, that's something that we probably do need to talk about. I don't think it's good. I mean, I don't think it's like bad. It's not on the far end of either spectrum, but I got it rained out, so it was really wet, but it was not what I was hoping for personally in an outsole. And then durability is something that I'll probably be weaving through this review, but there's already a chunk of foam sort of missing right there. So continuing on in the glass cannon style, where it's already starting to eat itself alive. But that's an exposed area of foam. I mean, we'll see how it does. I'm not like optimistic about durability. I can't make any judgments on it up front. That's just not like, it'll be what it'll be. We're gonna find out, right? I'm gonna put some miles on it. We're gonna find out how durable it is. That brings us to fit. This fit well. I was concerned at first that it might be a little bit long, but it's actually less long than other Chinese shoes in a size 10. And yeah, it actually just fit perfectly. There's really not a lot to say about the fit. There's just not. I mean, step-in comfort was weird because there's no insole in the shoe, so it was a weird sensation at first. And I did actually initially, within the first mile, I got some hot spots under my left foot, and then I did nothing to correct it, and then it stopped. And so I don't know if that's a fit thing. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was stopping and starting and going really, really fast. I did get some extremely quick strides in this, and so maybe that was it. I don't really know. It stopped. It didn't happen again throughout the remainder of the 13 miles. So it happened for like 2 minutes of a hot spot, and then it was gone forever. So fit wise, it fit really well. The lockdown was great. Literally no complaints fit wise. And yeah, but given how nervous I was from a material perspective on how this was going to fit, and then the step-in comfort not being particularly good at all, I was a little concerned that it wasn't going to be comfortable to run in for what I had planned for the day. And oh boy, was I wrong. So now we come to the ride. This is a fast shoe, guys. This is a very, very, very fast shoe. The probably most immediate comp that comes to mind is the Douyin PB Pro. This feels different underfoot, but it's almost the same sort of 10K position in terms of like what the speed is perfect for, what the like pace range felt perfect for, and that it had it could go even higher than that. And honestly, this felt great for sprinting. It was very great in a straight line for sprinting. But I think that it's robust enough and large enough, has enough stack for people for a lot longer of a distance than just sprinting. And yeah, maintaining a really rapid pace over, some 6 miles, that's, I think this could nail that. I think it could be an excellent, excellent half marathon shoe as well. So what does it feel like? I mean, it feels like a super shoe. If you've run in a super shoe before, it feels like a super shoe. It feels like a particularly light super shoe. It's interesting not running on an insole. Like, I didn't think I liked it at first, but by the end of the run, there was no need to have an insole in there. And this is something I've seen images of on social media of like pros taking out the insole in their shoes. I was like, you are all weird. Like, that is crazy. That's some professional behavior. And then today I didn't really like notice there was anything wrong with not having an insole in. Like, felt good. It felt really good. This is definitely a soft peba, but somehow it's also not a soft peba, and it's hard to explain. It's like with a soft peba that is as compressive, right, as this is, very compressive, I was concerned, deeply concerned that I was going to be getting plate feel throughout this entire run, because in the forefoot, there's 9 millimeters of peba, they even tell you, between your foot, or nylon foam, I should say, between your foot and the plate. And that's not, in my experience, enough foam to not compress and hit the plate. But I was pounding the ground. I was like driving a lot of power off the forefoot and no plate feel at all. So awesome. That's really great. Yeah, and this rocker is really nice as well. It's definitely a later stage rocker. And it's not the sharpest I've felt, but it's on the sharp end. It's a late stage sharp, like flingage type of rocker, and that suits the style of the shoe really well. It's meant to go fast. It is very, very fast. Yeah, it's a joyful instigator. It's like a playful minx. It's like the devil on your shoulder that's trying to urge you into a workout you shouldn't be running. Like, I was in pain when I started this run. I like took an ibuprofen, went to the mechanic, dropped my car, and as soon as I started running, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a brutal, brutal run. And as the ibuprofen probably kicked in, that's probably the only reason I wasn't like screaming in excruciating, whatever they're called, shin splint pain. but as soon as I got going, I stopped feeling any pain, and it just kept me. I don't know where I was going with this, guys. It was a lot of fun. It was like oh yeah, it's just instigating me to perform, and I was like really not trying to run that quickly today. I knew I wanted to get at least like 3 or 4 fast miles in. And I didn't really look at my splits or anything, but the first 3 miles were slow because I was setting up shots and like doing the whole running shoe review thing as you do. And it, like, still came back at a 7:20 pace overall. And this is a lot of stopping, a lot of setting up the camera and doing strides as well, where I'm like resetting in between, jogging back. I was just having a grand old time. I was having fun. And to still manage a 1:36 half marathon, given all of that context, and having it feel relatively effortless, is a real credit to the shoe and in the rain. And the fact that this is something we have to come to, the outsole was not coping with the conditions, like not perfectly. I was still able to run like 640s maybe towards the end, 650, maybe 7 towards the very end. But I could have been, if I was able to put more of the power down. I felt like I had a lot more in the tank. I wasn't really cooked by the end. I had more to give, and I probably would have given much more in the final like 4-ish miles if I was able to put the power down. That's when the rain started really like cascading through the streets, and like, just because I was at the bottom of the valley where all of the water filters into the river. So all of the sidewalks are slick with all of the rainwater coming down all of Rochester, basically. So there's a little bit of context why it was so wet. But I've run in shoes with similar outsoles. This is RPU, which I don't know what that means, but it's probably something like CPU. I've run in other outsoles that are of similar material and type and grip so much better in the wet than this. I've also run in shoes that grip so much worse in the wet than this. So it's really, middle of the road grip wise. I wish it were better. It doesn't have to be better for what this shoe is. This could be a race day shoe for dry days, or like, as long as it's not torrential downpour and you're in a valley, and as long as there's not mudslides everywhere, you're probably going to be fine in the rain. Yeah, what did I notice about it? It felt honestly kind of higher drop than 6, but they're being very specific about the stats on this. So who's to say if what's printed on the actual shoe is accurate? But it didn't feel quite so. Like, I was hitting my heels some of the time. And if you guys watch this channel, if you're new here, welcome. I'm rambling a lot, but if you watch this channel regularly, you'll know that I am pretty forefoot dominant, and it genuinely felt like I was landing on the heel throughout some of this run today, which is not to say that I definitely was, because these things are hard to tell, especially with these really dynamic foams with a relatively high stack. Like, it's not always easy to know. And there's a plate in here, so there's a lot of stuff between you and the road. But there were periods and points throughout this run where it's like, that was definitely a heel strike right there. And that's why I'm not super skeptical about what's printed on the shoe, but it felt a little higher stack than 6. And there could be some variance in the way that these shoes are printed, so that's part of it. The other thing about the stack is this did feel higher than 33 in the heel, and then 27 in the forefoot. Frankly, it did feel higher stack than that. Like, obviously, I'm trying to make an argument for potentially this could actually work for some people as a marathon shoe. And, it does feel, another thing is it does actually feel a higher drop, because it felt a bunch thinner in the forefoot than it did in the heel. But both of them, the whole platform, the entire platform, felt taller than those stated numbers. I can't really describe why without using particularly the Takumi Sen 11 as a reference point, but that is supposed to be 33 in the heel and either 27 or 26 in the forefoot. I can't remember. It's either a 6 or a 7 mil drop, but either way, the 33 in the heel in the Takumi Sen feels way lower than the Miro Nude 2. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's a feature of the flatter geometry in the Takumi Sen 11. I can't exactly explain it, but I can show you. Like, yeah, I mean, okay, so this is going to be ridiculous. It's going to look ridiculous to you guys. And I'll explain why it looks so ridiculous. But look at that. That's a substantial, it's a substantial visual difference. Now, it could be that the sidewalls are that much taller in this, because this is a sidewall. Like, I'm collapsing an entire sidewall of foam right there. But yeah, dude, maybe it's because there's an insole in the Takumi and they're counting the insole towards the stack. But one more time, just to, like, they're lined up. Maybe when I go to edit this, it won't look like such a stark stack height difference, but you could see at least what I mean when I'm saying that this looks visually taller than the Takumi Sen 11, and to me it feels a lot taller as well. Maybe not a lot, but at least a few millimeters. Like, if I had to place this, and also if I was considering this versus the Skechers Aero Razor, which is 36-32, I believe, that doesn't feel taller than this. That feels almost less tall than this. So, you know, that's a sensation thing. I would trust what's literally printed on the shoe over some guy on the internet telling you what he thinks it feels like, but it feels taller than it's claimed to be. One thing that I want to drive home is that this is a lot of fun to run in. I don't know if it's going to be any more fun for anybody than if you run in a lot of different carbon-plated racing shoes. It's characteristically similar to a lot of carbons, but I think that this does a lot really well, and I have yet to find something that I would consider a strong negative against it. Now, obviously, I need to get more miles on this. I don't tend to get as excited about carbons as I do about training shoes, because I try to run the majority of my miles in training shoes, super trainers, like some just exciting, innovative stuff for the bulk of my miles. And you could see that in some of my reviews of other carbons where I don't get super hype about them. And I do feel a bit of excitement about this because I just had a really fun time in it today. I was happy the whole time. You know, I was feeling good. And sometimes that's about external situations in life. Like, I had a relatively good day at work today, and that could be a contributing factor to my overall mood and my impression left on the shoe. I was also excited to test this shoe, so that could leave an overall lasting taste in my mouth going into the review. It colors the context of the review. And yeah, that's part of anybody's, like, any reviewer's obligation to their audience, to you guys, to acknowledge those potential biases. Like, I was excited for this, and I did have a relatively good day today. And so those, yeah, I'm babbling. 361 degrees, Miro Nude 2, phenomenal shoe, more testing to come, right at you. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay in motion.